Hello, everyone, and welcome to Got Thrones, a Game of Thrones podcast. I am your host, Alexandra August, and with me, as ever, is Johnny the Laughing Tree Kolazinski.
Hello.
Johnny was laughing when I was introducing myself, so I thought I would catch him.
And you did.
Thanks for joining us on our House of the Dragon crash course as we try to catch up with this incredibly dense, deep fried lasagna of a series before season 3 premieres on June 22nd. We are currently finished with season 1, so if you haven't yet, feel free to pop those on a playlist and listen through. They're all under half an hour, save for one. And this week, we are discussing episode 2 of season 2, Rhaenyra the Cruel. And Johnny, would you want to tell folks where they could find us?
Yeah, if you are looking for this podcast on the social media, you can find us at Got Thrones on Instagram, at Got_Thrones on TikTok, and at Got Thrones Podcast, or I guess just Got Thrones Podcast on YouTube. Or if you're listening to this podcast on a podcast platform, that's a good spot.
And so we're going to start off this episode as we have the last couple. I don't think we have any more announcements, do we, my friend?
I don't believe so.
Well, all right. Then I think we can head into our Trial of the Seven Sentences AI collab recaps, in which we read sentence by sentence, a straight recap pulled from the wikis, and then that same recap pushed through an AI plagiarism meat grinder to sound like whatever we wanted to. Crack whip.
Yeah. And I'm cutting back on my personal water intake to make up for the fact that we're doing this.
No single-use plastics, guys. All right, this time around, for Rhaenyra the Cruel, the second recap, the AI recap, would be in the style of a weekend update.
And I'll go ahead. I'll get started with the straight man version. In the aftermath of Prince Jaehaerys' murder, Aegon II erupts in fury, convenes his small council, and turns the child's funeral into a public spectacle that channels the grief of King's Landing into hatred for Rhaenyra the Cruel. After the assassin Blood is captured and implicates Daemon, Aegon personally beats him to death, while his own household continues to fracture as neither Helaena nor Alicent can bridge the widening gulf created by loss. Elsewhere in the capital, Aemon confesses lingering guilt over Lucerys' death, Hugh Hammer's family suffers under the blockade, and Criston Cole deflects blame for the security failure by ordering Eric, with an A, Cargill, to infiltrate Dragonstone and murder Rhaenyra. Aegon's retaliatory decision to hang all the rat catchers provokes a furious clash with Otto Hightower, ending in Otto's dismissal as Hand and Criston's sudden elevation, even as Alicent's private rage curdles into further moral compromise. Meanwhile, at Driftmark, Adam and Alan reunite under Corlys Valerian's shadow, and Adam's sighting of sea smoke hints that larger forces are beginning to stir beyond the political turmoil. On Dragonstone, Rhaenyra faces the political fallout of Jaehaerys' death, openly challenges Daemon over his possible role in the atrocity, and watches their already fragile bond collapse as he departs for Harrenhal to raise support. The episode climaxes when Mysaria detects Eric's, with an A, covert arrival, leading to a tragic duel between the Cargill twins in Rhaenyra's chamber that ends with Eric, with an E, saving the queen, killing his brother, and then taking his own life.
There's a lot. There's a lot. And now, for something a little bit different. In King's Landing, King Aegon responded to the murder of his son by launching a grief campaign so aggressive that even Fox News would call it strong messaging with room for growth. The royal funeral successfully rebranded Rhaenyra as Rhaenyra the Cruel, proving once again that in Westeros, the first casualty of war is nuance, and the second is whoever works in heraldry. After one assassin confessed under questioning, Aegon personally beat him to death and then hanged every rat catcher in the city, in what court insiders are calling a bold new anti-crime agenda, and everyone else is calling deeply deranged. And in the middle of all this, Aemond processed his feelings in a brothel. Hugh Hammer's family got crushed by the blockade, and sea smoke was spotted near Driftmark. So for anyone hoping the realm might calm down this week, absolutely not. Otto Hightower objected to the optics, was immediately fired as Hand, and was replaced by Kristen Cole because when a king is clearly spiraling, the obvious solution is to promote the most emotionally stable man in the room. At Driftmark, Adam and Alan reunited under Corlys Valerian's watchful eye, while Adam spotted sea smoke nearby, which in Westeros is the fantasy equivalent of seeing military hardware start moving and realizing the panel show just got a lot more serious. Over on Dragonstone, Rhaenyra confronted Daemon over whether he ordered the child's murder, which is a tough conversation made even tougher when the most honest answer available is define ordered. Meanwhile, Kristen's assassination plan ended with Eric and Eric fighting to the death in Rhaenyra's chambers, giving Westeros its latest reminder that no coup attempt is complete without traumatic sibling content. And that was Rhaenyra the Cruel, folks.
I really liked Beat 6 and Beat 7, Define Ordered, like stupid AI being funny.
Stupid AI being funny. I mean, if we can launch right into our top three or are just a couple of our top moments, one of
Yeah.
my first was Rhaenys looking square at Daemon, knowing exactly who the blame is, and Daemon just kind of like Daemon not being able to hold her eye and looking away, like
Yeah.
chef's kiss.
This is I've always liked Matt Smith as an actor. I'm a big Doctor Who fan.
He's great.
Um he in that scene and the scene with Rhaenyra later somehow gave the toxic masculinity version of vulnerability to a T. The I know what I did was wrong. I cannot admit that what I did was wrong. So I'm just going to do everything I can to avoid getting called out for it. Like I loved it. That was that and the scene with Rhaenyra were probably my two highlights for this episode. That and Alicent and Helena. Uh, in a show that doesn't do this sort of nuance well, in my opinion. Again, go back to how I feel about disability representation, kink representation, but the neurodivergent processing of guilt and having to do it in public, like they, I think, really landed how that would play out in reality in the same way. And
Yeah,
but this is mine, and it's not for them, and I can't do it for them. Like I loved it.
I think that they've taken a point of view on Helena that, maybe she is on a spectrum, or maybe it is just kind of like what comes of the level of inbreeding that the Targaryens would have had at this point. And I think that mystery allows her to be a very functional person in the story and at home, which is like she sees everything and is pretty much always right because there's absolutely nothing between her and what she sees and what she says. All of those things are very linked together, which kind of, I don't know how you would feel about this, but I liked this episode a lot because I don't know, it was a break from tragedy and grotesqueness, but it was truth. Everyone had a scene. Every scene was somebody saying the absolute God's honest truth. Like between Rhaenyra and Daemon, she finally says to Daemon, "You want my job. That's why you're here. Your love for
Mhm.
me is about your search, is about your ambition for the crown." And Daemon, I think, reacts very negatively to that because it's true. And it's not the
Yeah.
only truth, I think. Like I think the show did a pretty good job of building up Damon's fascination with Rhaenyra and love for Rhaenyra in others coming from other sources than just like what she represents to him in terms of what he's always
Mhm.
wanted. And the thing is too, like we learn more about that secret. And Damon is fucking violent to her again in this scene, so I really hate that they're making that element such a strong part of such a like part of
Yeah.
their relationship and still asking us to believe in this relationship. But that with not, it is what it is. But when Damon responds to it, like I think what he responds really, I think where the root of this pain is that not only did Viserys absolutely think she'd be better for the job, she had a more functional relationship with him. He trusted her more because she's very right. She's like, we cannot trust you. You do what you want. You are volatile.
Yeah.
You answer to no one. Like I can barely trust that you'll follow me. Look at your actions. And she's nothing but right in that scene. And so he fucking leaves like a big baby. And Rhaenys calls out a couple of times that Rhaenyra's task is that she hopes Rhaenyra meets this challenge well. She knows Daemon isn't good for her, but Rhaenys is not a puppeteer, and she is looking for Rhaenyra to hold power with grace, and so far she has. I don't know. She can be excused for calling for Aemon's death after Luke died. Daemon should not be excused for his actions, and so that's why he leaves. But I think that overall, when she eventually sends her children away, when she is both she and Allison, it's a clear mirror that like they are both like, "Hi, we don't want war. Nobody wants that." Because when you take like when dragons are involved, it's messy in ways it doesn't have to be. And you see the men, some of them are desperately wanting their glory for sure, but a lot of them are just like, this
Hmm.
is the only way they know how to solve problems, and it's kill or be killed first. And it's all a mess.
Yeah. I had as you were saying that, had a realization that is Damon to blame? Is Damon not to blame? What happened last episode with the death of Jaehaerys is basically what would happen if you sent gave AI the prompt. Okay, now go kill Aemond.
It returns with a child's head. What? No! What is this
It's
unholy?
okay. We took him to the sept first, and we rechristened him.
Oh
Although it's
man.
not christening,
We
septoning.
recepted him. We recepted him. We incepted him. It
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Yeah. You're not baptized, you're incepted.
Hmm.
I had another something that the recap didn't hit that was a good that I loved. We get a lot of good Renice and Corliss content this week.
Hmm.
Or this, sorry, we get a lot of release and Corliss content to like this episode and the next episode, which should tell you something. But I they get their own like Ned and Ned and Catelyn scene, which should tell you something.
Yeah,
They get their own like Ned and Catelyn post-coital, let's talk about, business scene.
yeah. And
And
then next episode, they have a little sweet. Oh, I brought you soup. Oh
yeah,
well,
you're so
I'm not
sweet.
dying anymore, woman. Yeah,
Just Eve Best. Also,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, big fan.
Gonna call out another quote from the behind the episode that was actually a highlight for me.
Mm,
But it was Otto's moment of never let and they described it as never let a crisis go to waste. And that is a very modern method of thinking, in my opinion, with having 24-hour news and PR and things like that. But it
yeah.
was why Otto was good at his job.
I really loved that scene where he was like, "You fucking moron. What did
Yeah.
you do?" And then he's like, "No, Sir Kristen did the other thing." And it's like you see like Rhys Ifan's eyes close and I bet he was a little glad to be fired.
Yeah, yeah. I This episode made me think that Otto would make a good king. Not a necessarily benevolent king, but an effective one. The
Kind of like Stannis a
the
little
wagon
bit.
trains would run on time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He would
Except for without the stick up his ass that
yeah.
would keep Stannis from compromise.
Yeah. Yeah. Um
With that, let's open on our tracking boards as we always do since last episode with our dragon count.
yes.
It holds steady.
Mhm.
16 total, with 12 with Team Black and 4 with Team Green.
Mhm. Black's still
Uh,
comfortably in the lead. Mhm. Mhm.
mhm. At the time that's passed since the last episode, hours to
It's
days.
yeah, yeah. And then in terms of Hugh's introduced, Hugh's wife,
Hugh's
Kat.
introduced.
Yeah,
Whose
as we
wife?
and so we are getting more and more, we're getting bit by bit more and more scenes with our small folk people who will eventually become our dragon riders. And we are led to
Hmm.
Hugh's wife, Hugh is the guy who's the smith, Hugh Hammer, who is feeling the pinch. They have a sick daughter, your basic perfect Midwestern couple, and they're just like, but poor souls who have hearts of gold, but middle class, I suppose. And then Adam of Hull, who is a little bit angrier at his father than Alan of Hull is. Adam is his brother, and Adam is kind of insistent that Alan ask for more because Corliss has not been the dad that they deserve, I suppose. Um,
Hmm.
Adam is
Shocked.
not, yeah. Ellen is, ostensibly like, believes that is not super honorable and wants to earn his way up.
Hmm.
And Adam is like, I don't have time for that. Okay, so do you? But ugh. And then Ulf, we get our we get some more with Ulf, who I think is like entire characterization is like unattractive. Um, but he is playing on. I think these guys. I forget if we established it, but I think they're all dragon riders, and we know that
Yeah,
Adam is descended from Valyrian blood.
right.
Um,
And we know that
we,
Ulf is a bastard son of Viserys's dad, Jaehaerys.
that's what he
Um,
says. Well, he says
that's what he
Balon.
says. Oh, Balon. Yeah, Balon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's Balon's bastard,
So
which
yeah.
is
So like
possible.
Rhaenyra's, what would that make it? Like cousin twice removed?
Uncle,
Uncle
because
twice
he's
removed. Yeah.
Viserys'
Yeah.
brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Um y- so we met him, and you call him unattractive, and I was trying to figure out who he looks like to me, and it's Russell Crowe in Les Mis specifically, but with a
like towards the
bad
end of
wig
Les
rather
Mis.
than yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Javert, like just like pre-suicide, but like just before.
Exactly. Yeah.
I also think of like Brad Dourif in like Lord of the Rings a little.
Which
Um,
one's Brad Dourif?
Lon Suitor in Voyager.
Okay.
And
Yes.
then
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but like not as evil. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
it seems like I don't know about Hugh, but he's a small folk person. He's tall. He has blonde hair, maybe. Who can say? But yeah, we get a little bits with these guys, and it looks to be interesting for the future.
Uh, and we've changed our who gets married to who gets down
Yeah,
as we're getting fewer and fewer weddings.
who's
Um,
our
uh,
I like this as just
who's
like
our
a
smutty romance?
relationship,
Yeah, and
just
it's
as
once
like
again Allison and Kristen.
yeah, they're my favorite couple on this
Oh,
show.
I hated. There's a lot I didn't like about this episode, and I didn't realize how much there was. I hated that. Oh, you ruined everything. You took my father out of his job. You're manipulating my son. Now kiss me, you stud. Like again, that's depiction of disability, depictions of kink. Like that, it wasn't quite kink, but it was definitely leaning towards the 50 Shades of Grey awfulness, and I hated it.
I It's interesting that it landed that way. I Because I actually really liked Allison and Kristen this episode because I felt like I kept being like, okay, so every scene somebody is like telling exactly how they feel, and we're bookended with Allison and Kristen.
Mhm,
Allison, of course, blames herself because she is unholy. She takes on what has happened, even though she had exactly dick to do it. And the only thing Allison has ever done, much like Masseria, is her job. She has only done her
mhm,
job. And this is and she and Kristen have found their way together, and it's incredible. They're found their way to each other, and it's incredibly fucked up and toxic. But they are two people that can be safe and alone together. And without each other, they don't really have anybody like that. Except for, and maybe kind of Otto, but not really. This is the truth of who Allison is, which is that she wants this, and she wants somebody to
mhm,
love and to like fuck and to be kind of normal, and she's somebody who's kind of like put herself in this pedestal that's a little bit inhuman. She's been so puritanical that I think that this is kind of her engaging with the truth of what she wants, and in the face of who they are outside of that room, she still wants it, and she still wants to be with him. And I think that like, I don't know. I don't like Sir Kristen for obvious reasons, much because of like what he does. Like when he realizes that she doesn't, when she kind of like goes and takes a bath and doesn't want to be with him, he is so angry that that has been disrupted that he has to go and solve the problem that he created. And in the most demented, awful way, like the most middle management way, to take accountability to Allison because she's the only person that he is kind of real with. He sends poor Auric with an A and manipulates this guy into going to Dragonstone. And then we have like honestly the best twin death I have ever seen, but also just really felt like, really, man, what? God damn, George. Why I gotta be like this?
I
I see why from your perspective that would also be, yeah, like yeah, it makes
I
sense. The show is not very
I
nuanced when it comes to that.
um I saw the scene with Cole and Eric with an A differently. I am kind of happy that we're done having to say Eric with an A,
Me too.
Eric with an E, although they
Me
do
too.
mostly say Arik and Eric, um,
Yeah.
but which I think is a
It's
cop out.
funnier. I know.
But I saw it more as Cole cementing his power by sending off the last remaining Kingsguard from the pre-Kristen Cole period. Not so much as cementing his power in a manipulative, like in an auto way, but in a I'm insecure. These guys were here first, so they're not gonna listen to me. So I gotta clean house.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I didn't see it as him uh
Trying to make
as
yeah,
him
trying
doing it for Alicent
yeah, I
as
think
much
it
as doing it for himself.
yeah, which is, the beauty of Sir Kristen Cole. Selfish in ways he doesn't even understand.
Mhm.
I think that falls into the two things can be true category for sure. I think he could have been
Yes,
motivated
yeah.
by Alicent's rejection and then also like wall to wall nakedness, which I had a note I think about like I'm like this is the most miserable castle. Like Alicent, the holy woman, has made this castle just miserable from stem to stern. What a drag.
And then next week we go to Harrenhal, which is somehow delightful.
Somehow more fun. Somehow they can't
Yeah.
even light a fire. God, I can't wait to talk about Cersei
Uh,
and Rhaenyra.
I like that 3 4 minutes ago you said this show doesn't do nuance well, and we are having multiple conversations about how well nuanced this episode is.
That doesn't do all nuance well.
Yeah,
Um,
it
but you
actually
can.
nailed
I
it this time.
speaking of the Erics, they're the ones who die this week or this episode.
Yep. Yeah.
Along
Uh,
with Blood and Cheese, whose
Along with
incompetence does
blood,
not.
cheese, and any other rat catcher.
Damn, which is of course the inciting incident where that makes Otto tear his hair out and lose his job again.
Yeah. So, who could fix this? This one's kind of tough. I think to an extent, Aegon, by listening to Otto, would have made his standing a little more secure.
Yeah,
And alternatively, Rhaenyra, by trundling up Damon and saying, "Okay, so this happened. I didn't want this to happen, so I'm giving you this as a gift." And I heard that Aegon has a mace. It wouldn't solve the war problem, but
I like. Yeah, I'm in general.
this is the first episode where I don't feel like there was an off ramp for the war in the same way as some other ones.
Yeah, yeah. I think firing Otto, is the big one. Like, don't fire Otto.
Hmm.
Don't fire Otto.
Hmm.
Like, just Beesbury was right. That was pretty brutal
Yep.
though. Like that in terms of like truth telling when Otto tells him Viserys was right about you. Which made me want to throw my
Yeah.
fucking computer across the screen. Oh, you were wrong, Otto? You mean you were wrong? Let's rephrase that. It's
Ooh, good take.
all a mess. It's all a mess. Who was your Slade? Who do you think had a great who had the best week? Who did the best? Who made us proud?
Adam and Alan Hull because of that stew.
An eternal stew. Hell yeah.
Hmm.
That looked delicious.
Hmm.
They should have their own stew TikTok. I bet they do.
Yeah, yeah.
Stew Talk with Adam Hull. Stew Talk from Hull.
Hmm.
Welcome to Stew Talk
Uh,
at Stew Talk from Hull.
Smash that like and subscribe. We joke like we're not podcasters.
Yeah.
What about for you? Who slayed it?
Mysteria.
Yep, that was my
Miss
other one.
Mysteria continues to do her job, do what she says she's going to do. Learn from her mistakes. She's like, you know what? I wanted to be, I brought myself to this. I see my part in this. I think Otto burned down my brothel, but ultimately, I think at the root of that was my desire to be seen by someone like Damon or Otto. And that was, you know what? You're right. That was folly. I'm cashed in my chips, going abroad. If you don't mind, ma'am, your house did promise me that. I am not a liar, and all of this is annoying.
Hmm.
And then she does the right thing and she builds the trust. Like she's shocked that Rhaenyra does what she says she's going to do because Mysterio operates in a world of power where people operate based on what they can do, not what they should do. And when we
Hmm.
see the beginning of why she stays with Rhaenyra when Rhaenyra is like, okay, very, very similar to Dany with Theon's brother or Theon's sister, Yara Greyjoy, when she's like, yo, you didn't say you're asking for your freedom. So that's different than just giving it away. She's asking for it. If the others want to ask for it, then maybe we can chat. And you sort of see the show's perspectives on how women operate together. And if you, and like females' actions mean enough, I think, in that way. And when she sees Arik with an A coming up the hill, she is the only person really on that island who has seen both of them and knows that this is and like can actually make that connection. And she knows that and she turns back. And she's the reason that Rhaenyra survives
Hmm.
because Eric bursts. At first I was like, wait a minute, does she tell anybody? Because they do both die. But then I was like, oh, Rhaenyra doesn't die. So
Yeah.
Mysaria did do her job. And it
I,
sounds like she alerted Eric with an E and he runs in behind him. Yeah. So Mysaria. Who was your cut?
yeah. There were a lot. And, like, honestly, can I give it to the ensemble? Other than the people, like, my win was people who got soup. Um, i- Nobody came out ahead. Like Missaria, yes, and more so, the reason she's not mine is spoiler. She's mine for next week. Um, but other than that, like everyone bungled something except for maybe Otto, who just got boned. So I'll give it to Otto. But ultimately, this was a tough call. This was a difficult call. Also, going back just a little bit, I had a realization when I was making my notes for this episode of why I can never remember Masaria's name. And it's because Masaria, the White Worm, Masande, and Grey Worm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I also feel I don't want her to be a worm. I wish she was like the white snake. Oh yeah, what if she's a white snake?
Yeah. Or the White Cat.
Yeah, yeah.
What about
Just
for you?
the Erics.
Yeah.
They had a really
Yeah.
man, they really like they had honor, they were good people, they really tried, and they literally killed each other. That's just a bummer. Like
Hmm.
they were just in lockstep. They had the same hair, like they did the same stuff. It was very, very sad when he's like, "You parted us." He was like, came into this world with you, brother," and he says, "You parted us," and it's just like they're so sad. And like, see this, I don't know. This is cute incest. Like this, I feel like if they were the Cersei and Jamie, if it was like a Jamie and Jamie situation, I would honestly be like, well, they're a little adorable. And I bet twins in like the world of Westeros, when you have like such cruelty and you can't trust anyone, like I don't know. I guess I see that. I'm not going to participate, but. They didn't make any
Yeah. I
trouble.
mean, also,
Yeah, yeah. Who was your most valuable parent this episode?
we might, the family hammer.
Oh, yeah. They really are like it felt like Malcolm in the Middle or like young Sheldon or something. Like that was the
Yeah.
energy.
Roseanne before Roseanne went crazy.
Oh man, yeah.
What about for you?
Mine was the madam that is parenting Aemond in the best way anybody has been able to, clearly.
Yeah.
This was just like so beautiful to watch. And she's like, when he apologizes about Luke, again, like truth telling, like he lays his
Hmm.
soul bare, and she might as well be his psychiatrist for how much trust he places in her. But he's like, I am sorry for Luke. I didn't mean to do that. That I let my temper get the best of me. And she manages to say, like, just as a fucking professional, that is, when princes lose their temper, other people get hurt. Small folk people like me. And I was just like, damn, ooh, get it, girl. I think it takes a pro to say something that is a little bit self-serving, but also like definitely what this person needs to hear.
If you like have conversations or read threads or whatever from strippers or sex workers, this is not uncommon.
No, not at all.
Like this is like the guys are only emotionally bare to women that they're paying to have this conversation with.
No consequences.
is a thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So legalize it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of
This show has no nuance. Also, we should legalize prostitution.
I know. Who is your queen of love and beauty?
Helena.
Me too.
Hands down, Helena. Yep.
Yeah. When she and Aegon pass each other in the palace, oh,
That, yeah.
like I'm rooting for them as a couple. Not really, but a
This is,
little, like just to get like to be a couple. Like I don't know. Ugh.
yeah. This is, so they have the behind the episodes after every episode. This is one where I would highly recommend checking it out. I feel like the conversation, because they had a conversation about that scene as well. And generally, I watch them to kind of get my gears moving on our conversation. But this one, it was just, with the exception of the two people in the same body, or two people in different bodies, same person, different bodies, like everything, like it's only 8 minutes long or whatever, and everything hit. So a recommendation.
Indeed, indeed. And with that, folks, that brings us to the end of our discussion of season 2, episode 2 of House of the Dragon, Rhaenyra the Cruel. Next up will be season 2, episode 3. The title for that is on a different sheet of paper. Episode 3, The
Title of
Burning
that one is
Mill. The Burning Mill. And if you do absolutely nothing, you're going to hear that episode in 5, 4, 3, whenever you skip to it, really.
yeah.
Thanks, folks.
Bye.